Okay, I think we start. I'll get us started, then just raise your hand. Coco, your first match here, just talk us through your thoughts on how that went and also how you came back so well in that match today.
I played her before in the Auckland final. I knew she would be better on clay, and, first round nerves are always there. The first set, I had like a couple bad games, but one on the service game and a lot of break point opportunities. So I knew if I stayed with my plan, I would be able to turn the match around.
Okay, Breen, just raise your hand so we get the microphone to you.
Coco, congrats on your win and also for the Miami Heat. I'm wondering, first of all, what was your reaction when you woke up this morning, or did you watch it all? And second of all, will you tell us the story about Jimmy Butler now?
Yeah, I will, now that we're in the finals. I did not watch 2:30 a.m.'s tough time zone, especially playing the next day. But first thing I did this morning was look at the results. Very relieved. I was kind of held my breath. And the Jimmy Butler story, this was before we were in the playoffs. The Heat were in the playoffs. He offered me tickets to see the last last home game of the season. And then he DM'd me like a couple weeks later asking if I wanted more tickets to see the postseason. And I said, I won't be here. I'll be in Madrid and then Rome and then France. And then he said, okay, no, when we make the finals, or when we make the finals, let me know if your family wants some tickets. So this was before we were even in the playoffs. This is before we lost to the Hawks for the first play-in game. And I just felt like I knew that, everybody was like, we have a 3% chance of making the finals. But when he sent me that, I knew we were making the finals, because he didn't say if we make the finals, he said when we make the finals. So now that we're in the finals, I can say that story. But I remember screenshotting it and sending it to my family, and I was like, oh, we're going to the finals. So that's my Jimmy Butler story. He pretty much said that we were going to the finals before we even qualified for the playoffs, and I just really like that mentality of him. So that's the story.
Okay, just down to pink and then that guy in back.
Hiya. Over here. Just on mentality, you said on court afterwards it was sort of bleep last year's final and bleep the first set. What could you just talk through that mentality and expand on what you meant by that? And is that sort of your outlook here?
Yeah, people, you guys ask me questions if the finals make me feel more pressured. And at first I was like, oh, I have to match last year's result, blah, 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 or do better. It was last year, so I'm like, it's over. What can I do about it? And then with the first set, it's over. Like, what can I do about it? So you have the choice to dwell on it or reset, and I chose to reset. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, in any circumstances, I think you learn from your matches, and once you're done from learning from that match, there's no point of revisiting it. So for me, I felt like there's no point in me revisiting last year. It was in the past. It was a great tournament, but I'm looking forward for more this week.
Okay, up the back there and then mine.
Hi, Coco. Congrats on your win today. I wonder if you could help me. I'm doing a sort of a cross-tour comparison on two of the best drop shots out there, which one is Ons Jabeur, who you've faced many, many times. The other is Carlitos. I know you can talk a little bit about Ons, and if you could, that would be great. And also, if you could give me some thoughts on Carlos, which I'm sure you've been able to watch a bit.
Yeah, Ons' drop shot. I mean, obviously, I think on the women's side is probably the best. She can pretty much hit it from any side of the court. I'm going to be honest, the last time I played her, she didn't use it as much. I do feel like I'm probably the worst player to drop shot. Yeah, and she definitely hits the most drop set winners on me than any other player, so she obviously has the best drop shot in the game. And Carlos Alcaraz, I never can read it. I mean, obviously, I'm not on the court with him playing, so I don't know if I would be able to read it better if I was actually playing. But from the TV, yeah, I don't see it coming. Ons, I really don't see it coming either. Most of the time, it's just a reaction, and I'm just happen to be fast enough to get to them sometimes, and sometimes it's just too good. So I think the difference is I feel like Alcaraz, he can, I don't know, I just feel like both of them, I feel like Alcaraz is a little bit more aggressive, and he does a little bit more serve and volley and moving forward, whereas I feel like Ons, I think she can drop shot from anywhere on the court. I feel like most of her drop shots, or most of them are obviously moving forward, but I feel like a lot of them can come from behind the baseline, which I don't think Carlos does it as much. I think he's doing it more when he's on the offense, but Ons does it on the defense sometimes, so I think that's probably the main difference between the two.
Coco, just further to that question about your mentality, I noticed in the third set you drilled a ball pretty much straight at your opponent and didn't apologise afterwards. I'm wondering if that's kind of related to you trying to adopt a sort of more ruthless mentality this year.
No, I mean, to be honest, she hit a bad ball and she chose to charge the net after the ball and took away the angle that I had. Normally I would have gone cross, but she closed that angle, so I just had no choice to hit it at her. I didn't hit her with the ball, which is why I didn't say sorry. If I had hit her with the ball, I would have said sorry, but to be honest, I didn't feel the need to apologize, considering that she chose to charge the net after she knew she hit a bad ball.
Okay, Helen, and then we'll go Howard, Jonathan, James. Go, Helen.
Hi, Coco. Can you talk to us a little bit about the next match and how do you feel on the surface on clay? Because everybody seems to say it's like velvet. It's the best courts in the world.
Yeah, definitely. Roland Garros has the best clay. I always play good tennis here. I feel comfortable here. As far as this next match, I haven't thought that far ahead, so I can't really give you much about that. But I guess doing something similar in what I had in the last two sets. But yeah, I haven't thought about the next match yet.
Okay, Howard, just raise your hand so they get to you. Yep. And then Jonathan and then James. Yep. Yeah, right in front of you. Yep, you got it. Yep.
Hi, Coco. I wanted to ask you about two things. One was at the very start, you talked about opening round nerves. Mm-hmm. Is that something you deal with at every tournament in the first round? Is it more particularly powerful at a Grand Slam tournament? And given all of your experience and triumphs that you've had so far in your career, why is it that there are those first round nerves still?
Definitely only the slam. I mean, sometimes in first rounds in other tournaments, but I would say the most in the slams. And I think it's really that feeling when you just step out on the court at a Grand Slam. It's a new feeling every year. I don't know if I'll ever get used to it. I feel very privileged to play on Susan Longland and on that court. So when you step out, there's a bit of nerves in it. I do think once I get over that hurdle, I feel like the tournament becomes a lot easier for me. But it's just that new feeling of stepping out on that court. And I feel like it is mainly for me for the slams because growing up I didn't watch a lot of tennis, to be honest, but I watched the slams. So I feel like it's just a familiarity to it, and it's like, oh, I'm here. And even though this is my fourth Roland Garros, I think now, I don't think, I mean, maybe 10 years from now, I don't know if I'll be nervous or not, but I feel like there's something about just stepping on, especially on these big courts, and just feeling really honored to be there.
And that may or may not have a connection to this question, but I'm wondering, with those break points as they're accumulating in the first set and they're getting away from you, what's the feeling like on that? Is it driving you a little crazy? Like, come on, I got to get one of these. If you could explain a little bit about what the mindset is as those keep coming and going, and then once you did get the first one, it kind of seemed to free you up, and you got a whole bunch after that you converted.
Yeah, I think in the first, for sure, I was like, can I just get one of these? And then after that, I was just like, the can I just get one is not working. There was a couple times, like on the break points, I feel like she had some good shots. She had a good backhand down the line, and she had like a second serve that hit the line. It was a good second serve. So yeah, and I had other chances, obviously, to win a lot of those points. And then I think it gave me a lot of confidence going into the second set because I knew the level of my game, if I can play it. that if I kept giving myself break opportunities, it was going to happen. I pretty much had break points almost every game, I think, besides like 2 or 3. And it's pretty good against a server like her. So it did, honestly, the first set, yeah, I was frustrated with how many break opportunities I had. But in the second set and the changeover, I literally told myself, like, I know I can break her. I'm giving myself all the opportunities. I just need to commit, and that's what I did.
Okay, Jonathan, James, and then we'll do Bill and this guy in green. Go, Jonathan.
Coco, I watched a video recently when you were helping to design your New Balance kit and your trainers, and you said that it was inspired by the superhero vibe. So I wanted to ask you, which superheroes inspire you? If you could have one superhero power on the court, what would it be and why? And finally, what would you like to say to all your fans who think that you're their superhero?
That's the best question ever, so thank you for that. My favorite superhero is definitely Spider-Man. Love him, love Black Panther, and then The Flash and Storm. There's a lot. And yeah, I think when I'm on the court, you know, the superpowers aren't in real life, but, you know, I got a good serve, got a good backhand, came pretty fast. So, you know, there's nice little superpowers on the court. And then for the last part, for all the people who look at me as their superhero, I'm super grateful. And yeah, I think everybody has special powers within them. I think we just need to find them. And when we do find them, the world becomes a lot easier.
Okay, James, and then Bill, and the guy in green to finish. James?
Coco,
Sorry.
that's all right. You mentioned earlier that you sort of move past things once they've gone into the past, but that you do learn from them. So I was wondering, with regard to last year's final, your first Grand Slam final, what have you taken away to learn from that? And you've obviously been in a final since then, albeit not a Grand Slam one. Have you had an opportunity to sort of apply those learnings, if you like?
Yeah, I mean, the journey to the final, I learned a lot from, and I think I took a lot of a more relaxed approach to that tournament last year, and it's not easy for me to find it every tournament. So, in that final, I think I learned to enjoy the moment more. Honestly, I lost that final, and for a week or two, I really thought it was the worst thing ever, and thought all these things. And I would say I am my biggest critic, so really, if anybody on my team would say this, I need to speak more positively about myself, and it's something I'm continuing to work on. And today, really in my match today, I applied it a lot. I was allowing myself to say no negative things to myself. Sometimes I think it. I mean, I do think it, but I try to combat it with that. And I tried it today, it works, so I'm gonna just keep going on and try not to be the reason why I lose, and let the reason be my opponent, not myself.
Okay, Bill?
Hi, Coco. You sort of answered my question, but I'd like to take it a little further. Since your days in the juniors through to last year's final, and even the dip in results you had late last year, I mean, you're a young person who's faced one situation, pressurized situation after another. My question is, what is the craft, the art of dealing with pressure? And of course, we know Billie Jean says pressure is a privilege, but what is the craft of dealing with pressure?
It's a learning process. I wish there was a recipe that each person could follow. I think that really you have to personalize it to yourself. For me, I feel like a lot of my life I've felt pressure. In juniors, everybody pegged me to be the next big thing or whatever. And then the way I entered the circuit, everybody was saying things about that. So I did feel early on that I had to, I think, outplay that talent that I had at that moment. And yeah, I do think I am talented and was talented then, but I felt like, I was 15 playing against grown women. So I don't know, at that time in my head, I thought that I should be winning every match. And obviously that's not the case. So I think the biggest thing was trying not to beat myself up. And I also, you've seen players in the past have a big outbreak and then kind of fold. And I think I was determined not to be one of them. So I don't know. I really can't put into words how I deal with it. It's a day-by-day process, and sometimes I deal with it great, and other times I don't. But I think for the most part, as long as I keep moving forward, even though there's going to be some setbacks, I had setbacks this year, had setbacks even last week, and I'm going to have setbacks in the future. But I think for the most part, as long as I keep moving forward, I should be okay.
Last one in the green.
Hi, Coco. Michael for Austrian TV channel. You know your next opponent very well. You played against her at the Billie Jean Cup in April.
Who do I play? Sorry.
Julia.
Julia. Okay.
Julia, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know who I played. So.
What are your memories and what do you expect for this match?
Obviously, when I played her in BJK Cup, I had a good match, and her style of game is quite obvious. It's better on clay than hard, so the next match will be tough. I'm gonna have to play a lot of balls. Obviously, I think she has a great forehand, so I'm gonna have to deal with that. But yeah, that's the most I can give you off the top of my head. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be a tough match. I saw her match against Kasakina in Rome, so I'm going to expect to play a lot of balls.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We don't have time.